Yeah, I'm just wondering if I sit down with Roger Stone and I'm like, hey, let's talk about Roger Smith for a second. Roger Stone. Do Roger. And I sat there and I said, wow, Crane is the brain that never learned how to fly. Does it ring a bell? Or does it just fly away? What do you think? Do you think it would ring more than just a bell? Would it ruffle a feather maybe? Like you'd ring a bell? Or George Santos, I want to sit down. Is Crane still the brain that doesn't fly? I just want to understand. I'm trying to get with the times here. You see. To boil it down for morons that don't comprehend. The CIA studied birds. The crane is unique in some respects as a bird because it doesn't fly away. Think about the startle response of a bird, fly or fight. And it's so much of what their psychology is. So they study that and they conclude, well, look at the crane. It's the brain that doesn't learn how to fly. And we look at amphetamines when they're studying the amphetamine research project in the Height in San Francisco in the Summer of Love. And what are we going to see? The CIA was studying the fight or flight response of humans and looking at a rats or was it mice model? I can't remember which one it was. Hold on, let's ask David Smith again. Get back to me, David Smith. David Goliath Smith. Get back to me. Like you're Hercules. You better get back to me. I said it like you're Hercules. So then we have Charles sitting here saying, yeah, and this is literally what he said. The crane is the brain that never flies. Wonder where that one came from. Gee. Illiterate ex-con. I don't think he could read before he got out of prison or even got into it, I guess. I don't know which one it is. I don't know. Where's the parole file? Release it. Somehow in between that time, he's saying things like, the crane is the brain that never learned how to fly. So look, what you got to do is, when this advanced criminologist, such as Roger Smith, I think he's still alive, when he's working with me and he frees me from jail, how I feel is I don't want to fly away anymore. I'm like that birdie over there that's a crane. It's craning its neck over here. It's like, heck, I feel like I want to fly away. Like I feel like there are phantom wings on me here, but I just can't go anywhere. I don't know what it is. And I think the friendly Fed must have done it to him. On some level, to sit there and then be like, yeah, no, this birdie ain't flying away. He's going to fight. So here's the point. Here's the catch. You release people from prison over and over again and commute their sentences. What is the criminological effect typically? And if we were able to study what they learned out of the Charles Manson thing, we would have the answer, wouldn't we? And so once again, when I'm sitting down with all the people he pardoned, hey, Camp Auschwitz shirt, did you break out the sweatshirt yet that says Camp Auschwitz on it yet? How's it going? So is Crane still a brain that doesn't fly, baby? And is there a rabbit in the hole? What do you think? If I sit down with Maxwell and I'm like, well, this is a different predicament here. Oh boy, Maxwell. Being treated like old lady Susan Atkins over here on an Atkins diet. They want their indictments, baby. They'll give you a better jail cell. You just gotta give them the indictments, baby. And yet you're on like Susan Atkins because you haven't had your sentence commuted yet that I've heard of. So it's like Susan Atkins with an Atkins diet catch. So what's here's the question then, specifically in Maxwell's case: what is the effect of moving an inmate from a jail cell that's terrible to one that's, feels a lot better by comparison? What does that do to the fight or flight response for that inmate, as contrasted with someone like Charlie Boy? And see, if you can ask the right questions, then you're going to get the right answer, aren't you? So that's why I'm asking, sit down with someone else. Who else is it, that I could sit down with? Who else? The 1,700 plus other people that Don the Con John Clogged McNugget, the 69th, has pardoned. So this would be like if Roger Smith suddenly went hog wild and no one was holding his hand as much anymore, for all of what he would want to do, first in the San Francisco project, which he worked on to lower the recidivism rates in inmates. First, he had a caseload of a decent amount of people, but they weren't difficult cases. Then he suddenly narrows it down to just Charlie Boy, and that's the only one he's dealing with. So who's Donald Trump's parole officer? Who's the one in the back that is something like Roger Smith? And I just think it's himself at this point. So, if we want to talk about Pardonalds and, we want to go to that, it used to be arches and now it's just, it turned into just that P, it's got like that one arch to it, the big sign raised up, and it says 1,700 plus pardons served, so far. And you go in there and you're able to see Ronald Reagan McDonald, an orange clown in a costume. It's just the best place to go. I love Pardonald's. The only other place I like more is BK, because at BK Ultra you can have it your way. Not at all, that is. At BK Ultra, you have it their way. MK? Okay. And remember, children, the K in there, it stands for the Germanization of that word. Control with a K. The Nazi investigations into how we can control people, integrated into America itself. So that's what it's like to go to Pardonald's. I roll up to the drive-thru. I'm like, hey, look, it's George Santos. Look at them all. They're in the place in there. In the play place. They're playing around. Look at these people. Look at that. Look at the balls in that play place. Oh my gosh. Wow. You're just sitting there and you're interviewing these people and you're just like, so, yeah, I'm going to release a bunch of cranes in the room right now. So do you know something about cranes, everyone here? Yeah, they don't fly, do they? And then a bunch of police come in. There's sirens blaring everywhere. They're just standing there. They're still having a party. It doesn't matter to these people because, again, they've been psychologically conditioned to not be afraid to go to jail. They know if they go to jail, Roger Smithy boy, he's going to pardon them. Pardoni, he's going to pardon them. They know it. As long as they remain loyal to that shit, they'll be pardoned. So please try to tell me again how this is not a Charles Manson and the girls situation. But here's how the kicker comes in. Let's talk about Wild Bill Langer for one moment here. North Dakotan governor found guilty, convicted of corrupting highway tollmen, taking extra money for North Dakota from these highway tollmen for his tolls. And he had to resign, or he didn't resign, in fact, as governor of North Dakota because of that. He sat in the governmental suite clutching the Declaration of North Dakotan independence and refusing to vacate his seat of power. So they had to yank him out of there, and then he appealed it, and guess what happened? He became governor again. Donald Trump, he's nothing unique. He's nothing special. He's just a recapitulation of things that have come before. He is Charles Manson, Roger Smith, and finally, Wild Bill Langer, all in one person. There's nothing unique about it. If you actually know history, you're just yawning and bored and tired with how stupid and dumb it is that people really think people are that dumb, and they indeed are now. Or maybe they've always been. I don't know exactly. The dumbing down of America, where it begins and where it starts, but you have to just not really know what's what on some level to really not understand that. And as a former North Dakotan, I'm really insulted and upset with North Dakotans. You fell for it with Langer, and you fell for it with Trump again. You know, you people are pathetic for falling for that. And there's a really good reason, among many other, why I left. Because on top of that, Wild Bill Langer arranged for a paperclip contract to come over here and become a citizen at the end of World War II. So in other words, a former Nazi was able to become a citizen, and Langer was one of the instrumental people in making it happen. And it tells you everything you need to know about this guy. Just like Trump would arrange for this or that person to become an American citizen. So he's also like Langer in this regard. You know, it's nothing special. Letting extremists become an American citizen is nothing unique. It's happened too many times in our history. It's trite and overdone for those that actually study this history. Thank you.